What? I'm obviously working here. Much better. So after months of refusing to admit that any parties took place or that any rules were broken, Boris Johnson finally came out and said this.
And when I went into that garden just after 6 on the 20th of May, 2020, to thank groups of staff before going back into my office 25 minutes later to continue working, I believed implicitly that this was a work event.
Before that party, an email went out to hundreds of staff in the building that he lives in, inviting them to a drinks and telling them to bring their own booze. So he would have known that it was a party beforehand, and while he was there, he would have been surrounded by people drinking alcohol, which means that even if he's telling the truth, it means that he thinks it's acceptable for his government to be drinking on the job during a pandemic emergency.
And I should have recognized that even if it could be said technically to fall within the guidance, there would be millions and millions of people who simply would not see it that way.
If millions and millions of people would have thought that your party was outside of the rules, that means that either your public messaging on the rules was terrible, or you knowingly told them to follow rules that you were going to break. Those are your choices.
I believe that the events in question were within the guidance and were within the rules.
Really, because the rules at the time were that you could meet one other person outside, socially distanced, which the rest of us went to great lengths to follow. Meanwhile, that invitation was sent out to 100 of your staff and 40 showed up. And this is his response to being told he should resign because he knows he broke the rules.
As for his political point, I don't think that he should preempt the outcome of the inquiry.
The problem with that is, you know you broke the rules. The only reason to wait for the end of the inquiry is to find out whether or not you can get away with it.
It is his objective, and he's paid to try to remove me from office.
Tens of thousands of families were grieving the loss of loved ones whilst you were having that illegal party, and you're accusing those who criticize you of having a financial motivation for doing so? This in the week that we found out that you accepted £100,000 from a Tory donor for whom you agreed to look into a great exhibition, and on the day that your government was found to have acted unlawfully by having a special VIP lane to give PPE contracts to your mates. Man, you exhaust me.